Good evening and welcome to the Coon Rapids City Council meeting for Tuesday, January 20th, 2026. If you could please rise and join us for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please call the roll. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Griscoviac.
Here.
Councilmember Butler.
Here.
Councilmember Novak.
Here.
Councilmember Geisler.
Here.
Councilmember Armstrong.
Here.
Councilmember Carlson. Mayor Cook.
Here.
One absent, Carlson.
All right, thank you. All right, why don't we adopt this evening's agenda?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Geisler and a second by Butler to adopt the agenda. Any changes or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. Item number 1 is our 2026 Snowflake Days button winners and proclamation. Looks like we've got a crew back there from Snowflake Days. Why don't you come on up? And do you want me to read any of this, or you're gonna cover this? You're gonna cover this, I'll bet. Oh, I didn't know if you wanted me to read any of these things that are in my notes, or maybe I'll wait and see what you've got to say.
Well, all right. I'm Tiffany Fick. I'm the Vice President.
Good evening and welcome to the Coon Rapids City Council meeting for Monday, February 2nd, 2026. If you could please rise and join us for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Griscoviac. Councilmember Butler.
Here.
Councilmember Novak.
Here.
Councilmember Geisler.
Here.
Councilmember Armstrong.
Here.
Councilmember Carlson.
Here.
Mayor Cook.
Here.
One absent, Griscoviac.
Thank you. All right, why don't we adopt this evening's agenda?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Geis.
I would like to adopt the agenda with one adjustment to the order of items. I would like us to consider moving the previous open mic response before the current open mic response.
Second.
Motion by Geisler, was a second by Carlson?
Yes, sir.
Okay, discussion? You're good with that?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So we're looking to adopt the agenda with one change, and that is to move item, that page, 8 ahead of the open mic public comment. Hearing all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. All right, looking for approval of the minutes from the January 20th meeting.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Butler.
I move that we approve the minutes from the January 20th, 2026 meeting.
Second.
Motion by Butler and a second by Armstrong. Is there any discussion or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. We have 2 items on our consent agenda this evening. The first is to approve the purchase of a truck chassis and upfit for street maintenance. We're looking at dump truck unit number 44 is 12 years old and in need of replacement, and the equipment is currently in the approved budget for 2026. and this action by council is part of the formal process to authorize purchases of equipment over $100,000 as per city charter requirements. The first quote is from iState for the truck chassis in the amount of $105,289 plus tax per state contract. The second quote is from Towmaster for the upfit in the amount of $173,153 per state contract. The total amount for both truck chassis and upfit is $278,442 plus tax. So we're looking to approve the purchase of a truck chassis for $105,289 and upfit for $173,153 for a total amount of $278,442 plus tax. The next item and the final item on our consent agenda is to receive the schedule of electronic payments. Minnesota statute 471.38 requires a list of transactions made by electronic funds transfer be provided to the city council at the next regular meeting after the transaction. Staff has prepared the attached list of electronic payments processed since the last council meeting. It's just a matter of we need to receive the schedule of electronic payments from January 15th, 2026 through January 27th, 2026.
Your Honor,
Councilmember Novak.
move to accept the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Novak and a second by Butler. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And that consent agenda is adopted. Item number 4 is, we're going to be looking to conduct a public hearing and consider an introduction of an ordinance amending city charter sections 1-505 and 1-511. Mr. Brody, do you want to hit the highlights of that one?
I can, Your Honor. Mayor and council, this is a proposed charter amendment. There are several ways to amend the charter. Obviously, it's not an easiest process, as it's intended not to be that simple, but in this particular method, we had it go to our charter commission, and they made a recommendation for this charter amendment. We feel it's a housekeeping, the charter commission and myself, a housekeeping measure. What we're doing is we're amending charter sections 1505 and 1511. These are related to petition and referendum. So if a member of a citizen of Coon Rapids wanted to petition for an ordinance or have a referendum to get rid of an ordinance, this would be the process. We discovered, or were pointed out to us, that under Minnesota rules, we're required when you sign as on the petition, to be part of the petition, that you have to include your year of birth. That's to assist the city clerk in determining whether they're a registered voter of the city. While we've made that change, we also made in our eyes, in the Charter Commission's eyes, the form easier and more readable for both the person signing the petition as well as city staff when they have to confirm that. So we're asking, as part of that process, that you conduct the public hearing and then ask that you introduce it. This would be similar to other ordinances. It would require an ordinance or an introduction and then an adoption at the later meeting. Where it differs from our typical ordinances, that when we do adopt it, we'll require a 7-0 vote of the council, so we'll need everybody available for a council meeting for that. And it also does provide for an opportunity, once it's published, it doesn't become effective for 90 days afterwards, because it provides an opportunity for residents, if they want to kind of get a petition together, not to have it come in place and actually put it on the ballot. So again, we hope that this is just merely a housekeeping measure. It's just making us in compliance with state law. Because there are lots of ways. This is one way to get an ordinance passed. Another way would be to contact your council member and tell them that, what you're interested in. So with that said, I would ask that you would conduct the public hearing. And if there's any other questions, I can answer them from council and then introduce the ordinance.
Mr. Brody, have we even seen a petition in your tenure here?
We have not seen a petition in my tenure. It does require, I think, 5% of our voters to bring the petition, of our registered voters that voted in the last mayoral election. So it's not the easiest barrier, but it is a method in which people could propose ordinances in Coon Rapids.
All right, very good. Any questions of Mr. Brody before I open the public hearing on this?
Mr. Brody, I have to ask, how long is your tenure here?
So I've been here since 2012. I think this is the second time we've actually amended the charter since 2012, so that's also unique. So I apologize if I'm a little rusty on it, but we're getting through this process.
We got her. If there's no further questions, I'll open the public hearing on amending the city charter. Is anybody here to discuss the ordinance amending the city charter for the petitions? Is anybody here for the public hearing on that? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. Does council have any other questions on this? If not, Councilmember Geisler?
I was going to thank the Charter Commission for bringing this forward and doing the work and getting it on our tables. Thank you.
All right, and if there's nothing else, we will consider the ordinance to amend city charter sections 1-505 and 1-511 introduced, and we will take it up at the February 17th meeting, I think?
Correct. If everybody's available, that is our intent.
Okay, very good. Next item on our agenda is planning case 25-15 and 25-16. Consider a PUD, which is a planned unit development and a preliminary plat, 12301 Shenandoah Boulevard Northwest, Land Spec Fund 5 LLC. Mr. Patzner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. So before you tonight, I have a request for a plan unit development and for a preliminary plat for the Balcony Farm site. So what's being proposed is a 29-unit single-family home residential development on the southern third of the southern Balcony Farm site. So this is a site that's currently being used generally for a vegetable garden right now. It's largely wet. The northern two-thirds of the site is mostly delineated wetland. The entire site is for the most part within the floodplain. So the applicant is proposing for a development just on the southern third of the part of the site south of Main Street. So this is at the intersection of Shenandoah Boulevard and 123rd Lane. And the proposed development would have access only onto Shenandoah Boulevard. So no access is being proposed onto Main Street. So brought up an image here just showing how much of this is wet. So the yellow part here is all delineated wetland, and that's essentially the northern 20 acres of the property, with the southern 10 acres of the property being used for the development. So what's being proposed is 29 single-family lots on that southern 10 acres. Netting out the wetlands, what's being proposed would come to about 2.9 to 3.1 units per acre, depending on how much of the site is actually delineated wetland. So that generally falls within the low-density residential land use designation that the city has created. What's being proposed is a 650-foot-long cul-de-sac with utilities, sewer and water coming off of Shenandoah Boulevard to serve the homes along the cul-de-sac, and stormwater being sent north of the cul-de-sac behind the northern homes to a stormwater retention pond. Also, a trail connection to the southeast of the development, which would connect this development to Cardinal Woods Park, just to the southeast. So what's being proposed are lots and setbacks generally that are smaller than the smallest single-family residential development, smallest single-family residential zoning district that we have, which is LDR 3. So what's being proposed are 50-foot wide lots at the smallest, which would be 120 feet at the smallest. Not all the lots are that small, but the smallest ones are, for an area of 6,250 square feet. And then at the smallest, the homes would be 28 feet wide. The road right-of-way being proposed is 60 feet wide with 31 feet from back of curb to back of curb. And the city engineering staff estimated 290 daily vehicle trips would be generated on average for a development of this size. The applicant is also proposing 2 outlots as well as a lake or pond, which would not have a stormwater drainage purpose and would not be on an outlot. So the first outlot, Outlot A, encompasses the delineated wetland section of the development, and that's the northern 2/3. And there's no proposed use for this outlot right now. So it's generally not developable land, and the applicant isn't proposing to do any sort of development work on that lot. Outlot B encompasses the land just to the south of Outlot A and to the north, kind of northwest of the development. That would be a proposed stormwater filtration and retention pond, which would be deeded to the city, and the city would be responsible for maintenance of the stormwater pond on Outlot B, which is standard practice for single-family residential developments. And then the southern pond would be part of the rear yards of the southern lots. So there's 14, I believe, lots, 14 lots that have frontage on that pond. And so that's basically an area that would be being used as a borrow pit. The applicant's proposing to take dirt from that southern area in order to build up the site that the development would go on, in order to bring that site above the flood zone and make it buildable. So they need the dirt from that borrow pit in order to build up the site, and they would be creating a pond on that southern site, and that pond would be shared by the property owners on the south. Maintenance responsibilities would be shared among those property owners, as would access ability. And the city would not have any interest in that pond nor any responsibility to maintain that pond. So here's just an image of the contours of the site showing that southern pond just essentially being dug out for use for building up the development site itself. And then here's a closer look at the lots that would be fronting 123rd along the cul-de-sac. So I do just want to go over really quickly the PUD requests. So there are multiple requests that are below or different from the standards in LDR2 and LDR3 that the applicant is requesting, and this is why they're requesting the PUD, so that they can build lots to these standards instead of the general standards in our zoning district. So these are garage size, lot area, lot coverage, lot width and depth, front yard and side yard, and street side yard setbacks, and then the maximum cul-de-sac length. So the city code does require cul-de-sacs to be no larger than 500 feet. And this is generally for emergency vehicle access. Homes on cul-de-sacs longer than 500 feet are relatively far away from the main road and take longer to access. The trail, which is being proposed from the eastern end of the development to connect to Cardinal Woods Park, would also double as as emergency vehicle access. So emergency vehicles would be able to use that trail to access the development. And this satisfied the fire department's requirement for access and allowed us to kind of give the go-ahead to a proposal that has a 650-foot long cul-de-sac. And the trail would not have vehicle access generally, but the fire department and emergency vehicles would be able to access the development through that trail. In terms of home types, these homes would be built by Lennar. So Lennar would be the main builder of the homes on this development. And they're proposing homes that range in area from 1,600 square feet to 2,170 square feet. And these are just some of their models, the standard Lennar models. I think there are probably options for home models outside of the ones that are being proposed, but these are the ones that they're showing right now. And I did want to compare the home and lot dimensions really quickly to Port Riverwalk, which I think is probably the most similar in terms of built form to what's being proposed here. So there are lots in Port Riverwalk that are 40 feet wide, and there are lots that are 50 feet wide. And what's being proposed here would look similar to the 50-foot wide lots in Port Riverwalk. So generally 50 feet wide and 110 feet in depth is what you'd see in those lots in Port Riverwalk. What's being proposed here are 50 feet wide and 125 feet in depth, so a little bit larger. And the home sizes are in a similar range for the Balcony Farms proposal to Port Riverwalk. The garage sizes are a little bit smaller, with a minimum of 390 square feet, which is 19 3/4 feet by 19 3/4 feet, smaller than the 21 by 21 that we see at the smallest in Port Riverwalk. I can obviously go over any of this in a little bit more detail on request, but I did just want to provide that comparison so you get a sense of what the development might look like in terms of spacing between homes, size of lots, size of homes, et cetera. So this is just an image from Google Maps of that section of Port Riverwalk. With that, city staff are recommending approval of the planned unit development and the preliminary plat with a series of conditions that I have listed out here, and I'd be happy to go over any of those in more detail on request as well. So I have a recommendation of approval for Resolution 26-29, which is the planned unit development, as well as a recommendation of approval for the proposed preliminary plat. That's all I have. Thanks.
Mr. Pastor, you keep comparing it to Port Riverwalk, but now those are detached townhomes. That's an HOA, and those are detached townhomes. That's how that was built. So are these detached townhomes? Are we doing an HOA up there?
Mr. Mayor, an HOA is not being proposed here. So the home style that's being called detached townhome, I don't know that that has a hard line between what's considered a single-family home and what's considered a detached townhome. I think a lot of the times that's being used as a marketing term, detached townhome versus a single-family home. What's being proposed here, the built form would look very similar to those southern lots on Port River Walk, whether you call them detached townhomes or single-family homes.
Okay. Yeah, all right, because that was the other thing, was we were going to get townhomes there otherwise, so.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Carlson.
I know Councilmember Griscoviac, Ward 1 Councilmember Griscoviac is very passionate about us considering LDR 3 for this project. I believe he had some resident concerns as well, but he's certainly speaking for his residents. Councilmember Griscoviac's not here tonight, but this is his ward, very passionate about it. I think one of his issues was he kind of wished we'd had a little bit more discussion before it came before council. And I'm not going to make any motion yet, Mr. Mayor, because I want to give my fellow council members an opportunity to ask Mr. Pastor questions. But it'd be my intention, Mr. Mayor, to table this so we can work session it and then bring it back possibly for the February 17th general meeting. We have, I believe, Mr. Mayor, till April for this. Again, I don't want to step on any other council members, so I'm not gonna make the motion yet, but
Sure.
it was my intention to make the motion if my fellow council members would give me a little bit of time to do that after they've asked questions of Mr. Patzner.
All right. Other questions or comments, Mr. Patzner?
Your Honor?
Councilmember Novak?
Mr. Patzner, I live in a cul-de-sac, and I can tell you that sometimes even our short little cul-de-sac has issues with plowing, snow, ice, that kind of thing. I've seen long cul-de-sacs before, and I'm understanding that this one got by the fire department, but has anyone consulted with police and EMS?
Councilmember Novak, police and EMS are not usually on the review team for plats and things like that, so they weren't formally consulted as part of the review for this project. The fire department does provide comments related to emergency vehicle access. It's generally understood that the fire departments are speaking for all emergency vehicles, but if there are comments from police or EMS that are contrary to the fire department comments, I have not yet heard them.
With this winter, just in our little cul-de-sac, we've had issues with ambulances being able to get in and get out. So a 650-foot cul-de-sac does concern me.
Any other questions or comments from Mr. Patzner?
Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Geisler?
Mr. Patzner, maybe back before, you said 290 trips per day were estimated from this development, is that correct?
Councilmember Geisler, yes, that's correct.
I'm assuming that's a fairly conservative estimate, because usually homes don't generate 10 trips per day per home. That's pretty aggressive.
Councilmember Geisler, maybe I don't fully understand your question. 290 trips for 29 homes would be 10 trips per day per home.
Right.
Yes.
10 trips per day per home is average, or that seems a little high for most folks?
That is based on the manual that the engineering department uses to determine trip generation based on a variety of factors. I absolutely don't know enough to get into the details on that.
That's fair. I just wanted to confirm, that seems a little excessive, but fair enough. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Armstrong?
just to confirm from what I saw with the data that we had, there was or was not ever a traffic study done for this?
Councilmember Armstrong, a traffic study was not done, and the engineering department did not recommend that a traffic study needed to be done for this.
Yeah.
And Mr. Patzner, a little napkin math tells me that they would probably only get about 23 homes in there if they did LDR 3. And
Mayor Cook, that's correct, yes.
and that mathematically won't work for them?
To my understanding, that math is, yeah, that
Is
they
this-
requested to go for this even though it was not meeting the zoning requirements of LDR 3 based on their financials. Obviously, I don't have those numbers in front of me, but that is the conversation that we had.
Because we worked hard laying out that LDR 3, and this just seems like exactly the right application for that, so.
Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Councilmember Butler?
Yeah, I was thinking about that with the LDR3 district, and when watching the planning commission meeting, I thought there was a really fascinating dialogue, just talking about how LDR3 has its place. The market might be even looking for smaller homes than LDR3. I know that we just did that. I think that it's a great opportunity for our city. But I do think that if we have hard-to-develop areas such as former wetland, there might need to be exceptions in place. And I know we'll talk about that at a work session, but I was impressed with the discussion at the Planning Commission that they had to ultimately bring this to our attention and recommend its approval.
Okay. Yeah, I'll save the rest of them for the planning commission, or for the work session. Anything else before Councilmember Carlson makes his motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Carlson?
I make, let me move down here so I'm looking at the right thing. In the case of 25-15, I make a motion to table resolution number 26-29 approving the proposed plan unit development. I'd like to move this, table this until the February 17th general meeting so we can have a chance to discuss it at our next work session.
Second?
Okay, are we good with the date? We can change the date if we have to.
Yeah, Mayor and Council, we can definitely make it work.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to table. All in favor signify by saying aye. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
No.
Okay, the motion carries. Councilmembers Geisler and Butler opposed. Sorry, I was asking a clarifying question to the city manager, but there's no discussion out of a tabling motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Geisler?
I just wanted to clarify the motion in that Councilmember Carlson only indicated planning case 25-15, did not indicate planning case 25-16 in the tabling motion. I wanted to make it clear that both motions were, or both items were under his intent to table.
Ms. Mayor, would you like me to make a second motion to add that one?
I think at this point, let's have a second motion.
Sure. Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Carlson?
I make a motion to table planning case 25-16 to the February 17th general meeting, so we have an opportunity to discuss it during work session.
Second?
Okay, motion by Carlson, second by Novak. Is there, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. All right, item 6, I think actually been point of order then, I think.
Probably.
Yeah. It's okay, we're all still learning.
Oh, you guys and your rules.
I felt bad because I thought, boy, Chris usually has something.
I thought I had it nailed.
Consider, so let's see, is this, yeah, consider services agreement for project 18-14 Trunk Highway 610/East River Road interchange. Mr. Himmer.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Council, this is to consider another scope for the Trunk Highway 610 and East River Road interchange project. I've been working on this, heck, I've been here 12 years, probably about all of that 12 years. We kind of brought somebody on about 6 years ago. That got us through public engagement and, 15 different iterations. We then had to go back for trying to avoid the Burlington Northern Railroad and get another staff-approved layout. So we're close to the finish line now. We have still the intent to get through the environmental document maybe this week, start working on acquisitions, and then have this in construction as early as this fall. But we had a few other things come up with pedestrian tunnels and more legal descriptions. So we're looking to approve another scope in the amount of $329,001. And this gets us through bidding. I will say, once construction starts, we may have some additional scope for some inspections and things, but this just gets us to the bidding. And in the grand scheme of everything, once this is said and done, we'd have about a $3.5 million engineering contract to get this done. and we're estimating about 38 million on the project. So that falls in that 8 to 10% range that we're comfortable with. And so I would recommend we approve this letter of engagement, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
All right, any questions of Mr. Hammer on this?
Your Honor,
Councilmember Novak?
I move that we approve the letter of engagement with TKDA under Master Consulting Agreement, let me use my bifocals here, in the amount of $329,001 to finalize the design of Trunk Highway 610 East River Road Interchange Project and authorize appropriate staff to execute such agreement.
Second.
Motion by Novak and a second by Geisler. Is there discussion?
Yes, Your Honor.
Councilmember Novak?
Just for the record, I want to point out to anybody who's watching that what this is the ability to finally take 610 and go east on Highway 10. So if you guys didn't know that, we are trying really hard.
Oh, we're there.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Carlson?
I'm kind of ashamed to admit it, but you wouldn't believe how many times I end up getting stuck westbound and had to go down to 85th in Brooklyn Park to turn around. I don't know if they all had that happen, but more times than I probably should be admitting in public.
Well, the river's
But,
ready to cross.
yeah, it's a nice drive, but yeah, this will also take care of that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? And that motion carries. Item 7 is to consider a refund of some 2026 liquor license fees for La Casita Mexican Restaurant. Ms. Lensmeyer?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, the request before you is for consideration of a partial refund of liquor licensing fees due to the fact that La Casita has closed its doors as of January 13th. They've asked if council would consider a prorated 11-month refund, as we've done for businesses in the past. If you have
very
any
good.
questions, I can answer those for you.
All right, any questions?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Butler?
I move that we approve a refund for the 2026 liquor license fees for La Casita Mexican Restaurant, 8955 Springbrook Drive Northwest, in the amount of $9,808.34.
Second.
Motion by Butler and a second by Geisler. Is there a discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? And that motion carries. All right, we're up to, normally we would be at the open mic, but we have moved this around. So I will read our open mic response from the last meeting. Nearly 20 citizens spoke at the open mic portion of the January 20th, 26 meeting about their concerns with the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, and Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, activity in the city. While there were several themes that emerged from the various statements and many questions asked, most speakers wanted the city council to clarify its position on the matter and to hear the city's general position on the current federal law enforcement activities occurring in and around the city. As this is a staff response to the open mic comments, it is important to note that the focus of this response will be in regard to the specific authority and role of the police department and its enforcement officers. This response does not address some of the larger policy or political questions, nor is it intended to represent specific council member positions on these matters. With regard to the city's police department, officer actions and enforcement operations are guided by state statute. The Coon Rapids Police Department's primary responsibility is to enforce state and local laws. Members of our community have shared questions and concerns about recent Department of Homeland Security, DHS, and Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, activity in Coon Rapids and the wider metro area. Staff can provide our residents with information regarding our police department's role and jurisdiction in this regard. Below are the answers to frequently asked questions on this topic that have been posted to the city's website since the January 20th, 2026 meeting. Does the Coon Rapids Police Department participate in immigration enforcement? No. The Coon Rapids Police Department is dedicated to enforcing state and local laws. Our department is not involved in federal immigration operations. Those enforcement actions fall under the sole responsibility of the federal government. ICE operates as an independent agency under the Department of Homeland Security, and its agents are not required to provide our department with advance notice of activities. The next question, does Coon Rapids Police Department ask about immigration status? No, we do not monitor immigration status or enforce immigration law. Those enforcement actions fall under the sole responsibility of the federal government. Do local police agencies have authority over ICE agents? ICE is an independent federal law enforcement agency under the jurisdiction of the Department of Homeland Security. The Coon Rapids Police Department does not hold any authority over federal agents, nor can we interfere with their operations. Obstructing federal actions is unlawful for both the police and members of the public. Does Coon Rapids Police Department share data with the Department of Homeland, DHS or ICE? At this time, Coon Rapids Police Department has not been contacted or asked to share any data with DHS or ICE for immigration enforcement operations. Whether the police department would share data would be determined based on the legal circumstances of the request, such as a state statute requirement or a federal court order. What is Coon Rapids Police Department's role if called to respond during ICE activity? The Coon Rapids Police Department's primary responsibility is to focus on local public safety. If called to respond during ICE activity, our responsibilities include de-escalating tense situations to prevent conflict, managing crowds and traffic control, protecting the First Amendment rights of those participating in lawful protests or gatherings. The Coon Rapids Police Department does not hold any authority over federal agents, nor can we interfere with their operations. Obstructing federal actions is unlawful for both the police and members of the public. Coon Rapids Police remain committed to local public safety. If you are in need of assistance, please call 911. How do I know if I'm interacting with Coon Rapids Police Department officers? City of Coon Rapids patrol officers utilize marked police vehicles and wear City of Coon Rapids uniforms that include the Coon Rapids Police Department patch on both sleeves. Coon Rapids Police Department also has 3 unmarked vehicles that are used in certain circumstances. You can visit the city's website for photos of the Coon Rapids Police Department unmarked vehicles and the vehicles' uniforms and patches. Detectives, cops officers, and other non-uniformed staff may not wear a patrol uniform in the field, but will always present a Coon Rapids Police badge. If you need help, call 911. Coon Rapids Police will respond. Anyone who sees suspicious activity, witnesses a crime, or feels unsafe should call 911. And then we've got the whole list of federal and state contacts. It's for the ICE field office, it's for the online detainee locator system, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. All of these phone numbers are on this document. They're all in tonight's meeting agenda, and they're all on the website. This response is for informational purposes only, and no recommendation is being made at this time. With that, we will go to the open mic portion of the meeting. Open mic provides an opportunity for the public to address the city council on subjects that are not part of the regular meeting agenda. The public is invited to express any concerns they may have which are relevant to the affairs, policies, or practices of the city of Coon Rapids. Remarks will be limited to 3 minutes. Should you wish to participate in open mic, please approach the podium and state your name and address before addressing the council. All remarks will be made from the podium and addressed to the council as a whole. Hang on. Somebody desecrated my sheet here. No, anyway.
What about personal attacks?
Go from memory. Personal attacks are prohibited. Open mic is not a time for problem solving or reacting to the comments made, but for hearing the speaker for informational purposes only. Questions from council will be for clarification only, and if necessary, a staff report will be prepared for the next regular council meeting with a copy forwarded to the speaker. With that, we'll open the open mic portion, and please step up and give us your name and address, and you've got 3 minutes.
Hi,
Hello, welcome.
I'm Shaylin Burbig. My address is 2279 129th Ave, Coon Rapids. I remain concerned about the safety of transportation to our schools. We have ICE stopped 2 Anoka Hennepin vans, and we're questioning the van drivers and the students. I think it's important that we hear not only from the city manager or the police department, but also our elected leaders on whether or not ICE should be interacting around our schools and around our bus stops and on our buses, on our vans. I think that those areas should be a safe place for children and their families to be without fear of losing a parent right at their bus stop. The need isn't getting smaller, it's getting bigger, and I know that because I had to create a food shelf for the people of this area, and that the needs for food and basic necessities are growing. So it's not going down. So I asked at the last meeting about how we're protecting school bus stops and transportation. I haven't received anything about that, but I would like to know how that is going to be addressed. And as I did see the response about police engaging with ICE, and my question is if there is illegal behavior happening, like ICE is assaulting a peaceful protester or something like that, what happens in that situation? Or running vehicles off the road, because that has also been reported to be happening. And if we are being followed, if we drove to the police station for safety, would that be appropriate, something that would be appropriate to try to stay safe? Because when people have been pulled over, they've been detained and sometimes brutally assaulted. So I think it's important that we hear from more than just our city manager and police department. We elected all of you to office, and we deserve to have your thoughts and position on this item. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Jim Shegstad, 2940 119th Lane, Northwest, Coon Rapids. I have a similar message, but I think the response from the police department and how quickly it came out, I thought it was amazing. I think this council is full of some pretty decent administrators. I've watched you guys work. But I think this call from the last city council meeting wasn't for an administrator. It was for leadership. And there's a couple of council members who exercise their leadership by expressing some empathy for those who are affected. And I think there's room for all of us to have a little bit of empathy for those who don't feel safe going to the bus stop, going to work, going to a restaurant. I visited 2 restaurants this weekend that had to reduce hours. One place I sat down and ate at and spent some time with them, there's only 2 people working trying to serve the whole, on a weekend. It's really disappointing. There's a difference between being an administrator and being a leader. And I'm asking you guys, for those who haven't responded or as a collective body, exercise some leadership. Your constituents are looking for it.
Tom Kiefer, 12772 Swallow Street, Northwest, Coon Rapids. I'd like to thank the council members that responded to my emails concerning ICE activity in the city of Coon Rapids last week. This activity occurred in the morning at locations next to school bus stops. They included license plate numbers of out-of-state vehicles with masked people inside. This is totally unacceptable. Today, Senator Jim Abler sent a letter to Tom Homan asking him to rethink the actions being taken by ICE in Minneapolis and Minnesota. I urge the city council members to do the same. I'd like to close with a piece I read this past week. Silence is never neutral because it can be perceived as tacit approval or acceptance of the status quo. When someone remains silent in the face of injustice, cruelty, or wrongdoing, it can embolden the perpetrator and create a power imbalance. Silence can also be seen as a lack of empathy or understanding of those who are suffering. By staying silent, one inadvertently contributes to the problem, allowing the loudest and the most powerful voices to dominate the conversation. In this case, silence can be seen as taking a side, the side of the oppressor rather than the oppressed. And lastly, I want to end by saying no human is illegal. They may be undocumented, but not illegal.
Anybody else for open mic this evening?
I'll give it a whirl.
You can go first.
You're close.
Okay. Hi, my name is Hannah Diaz. I'll give my address to the clerk afterwards. I'd like to start off with a quote from the mayor of Mounds View, who addressed his community, and he said, "I stand in solidarity with my community members and those across the state that are calling out the injustice, profiling, and brutality of the federal government in our streets." My point in saying this statement that he made is that it is a choice to stay silent, and it is a choice to turn a blind eye to what is happening in our home state here. The people of Minnesota and the people of Coon Rapids, we know what is happening because we can see it and we're experiencing it. The struggle that we are experiencing as a community is that we're operating normally while things are fundamentally not normal. This regime has caused an entirely new generational trauma, and it's going to take decades, if not lifetimes, to rebuild a foundation of trust. So I would like to know exactly what Coon Rapids is doing to help out the residents of the city, but also Minnesota. Are you working on any ordinances? At the very least, I urge you to join the lawsuits against the federal government for violating our human rights and stand with Governor Walz. A question for the mayor: I would like to know if you stand with Coon Rapids and if you stand with Minnesota. It's very clear that our government at all levels is failing all of us, and we desperately need your help and your voices to engage in public pressure because you are the leaders of our city. And if we can't go to federal, like, you are our leaders. I understand that the system works for some of you, but I'll not stop pointing out that the system and your privilege is built on the oppression of others, and that's not a leadership that I'm ever going to trust. I don't know how to convince anyone to care about other people the way that I do, or to be as angry as I am. So I'll ask one last question before I conclude. Who would it have to be dead in the streets, or whose Spider-Man backpack would it have to be for you guys to be as angry as we are? Thank you.
My name's Mark Seaman. I live at 11905 Wedgewood Drive, Northwest, Coon Rapids. I did some research as to what other cities are making statements, and there's different approaches as opposed to a frontal assault or getting the message across that we appreciate the immigrant communities, businesses, and fellowships we have within the community. So I printed them up, so I'll submit them afterwards. The two top ones from Crystal and St. Louis Park, I thought were kind of innovative because it does that. It gives value to the immigrant community. The other thing is, I'm an old man, so I live in a world of cliches. I was raised in a Lutheran home. My father was a pastor. So there's a great deal of I think, morality that I learned when I was growing up. And when you see what's happening, what it means to be an American, what it means to be a Christian, being turned on its head, it's very hard to sit by and not say something or think God's watching me, that I should be doing something as representatives of me. It is more than just running the streets or taking care of the utilities. You're representing me. And the cliche, which basically is echoing what these people just said, is silence in the face of evil is evil itself. God will hold us responsible. To not speak is to speak, and to not act is to act. Thank you for the time.
Hi there, my name is Tanner Larson. I live at 1509 127th Lane, that Weston Woods town-owned complex next to the golf course. The Twin Cities metro area has been the target of what our current federal administration is calling the largest immigration operation by the Department of Homeland Security in our nation's history. For several months now, the public has experienced and documented countless instances of federal agents targeting and harassing residents based on the color of their skin, regardless of their immigration status. These threatening and violent attacks on residents have occurred in public places, including schools, streets, hospitals, sidewalks, grocery stores, places of worship, and bus stops. One occurred just yesterday, right off Marigold Avenue, just a block away from the Aldi. As a result, many residents are unable to move freely due to the threat of harassment, violence, and abduction, forcing them to shelter in place and impacting their ability to work and provide for their families. Let me make myself clear that absolutely no family should have to choose between keeping a roof over their heads and risking being kidnapped by ICE. The city of Coon Rapids needs an immediate eviction moratorium to keep families in their homes until these indiscriminate mass attacks in our community have stopped. I call on this city council to draft a formal resolution to urge Governor Walz to use his authority as the executive of the state of Minnesota to enact an eviction moratorium immediately. Now more than ever, we need to look after our neighbors. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else for open mic this evening? No.
Judith Fido, 12179 Lily Street, Coon Rapids. I want to thank the councilman who responded to me this week on some items I brought up last week. This is a practical kind of question. And again, I received my copy just today that you sent out in response. So is it a crime to break into a home or someone's car without a judicial warrant? It's a question.
Okay.
I guess I have.
It's noted. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Candace Barnes, and I live in Andover, 15614 Kumquat Street, Northwest Andover. And I had just heard about this morning, that there was going to be open mic, so I don't have any prepared notes or any comments. I'm hearing all of these things that people are saying, and they certainly are concerning. I've seen certainly a lot of things that have been coming up on the news and so on. From a little bit of a different perspective, I am grateful that that there are people that are being removed from our communities who do have some pretty violent crimes and who are harming people, whether it's in Coon Rapids, Andover, whether it's in Minneapolis, whether it's, wherever it is. We do have people here who are bad, and they shouldn't be in our communities. They are bringing, they're bringing drugs in. There's trafficking that is happening. And I went to a fundraiser last year, and I saw all the trafficking that was happening in our communities. And people will say, well, it's not just the illegals, it's people, or it's our citizens too. And that may well be, but I feel like that's lame, in my opinion. And I think that our communities need to, as leaders, we need to be protective of all of our citizens and give dignity to all of our citizens and non-citizens. Everybody deserves dignity. That said, there are some people who I don't believe do deserve dignity because they're doing evil things in our communities. And so that's it on the fly. So I give you guys, I pray for you, and I hope that in these difficult circumstances that you're able to make the very difficult decisions that need to be made. So God bless you all.
Thank you. Anybody else to address council? For open mic.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, my name is Becky Fink. I'll leave my address with the clerk. Believe it or not, I honestly wasn't going to say anything because I felt that I had said what I needed to say at the last meeting. For those of you that could not find it in your heart to write a response, I am formally asking for the record a response from each of the council members to simply tell me what is it that is so hard about you taking a position on this. I want to know. I'm asking for a formal written response. Tell me why you can't speak to the public safety of our community. You understand this is a formal request. I want it in writing. I don't want it nuanced. I don't want it on Facebook. Addressed to me, Becky Fink. And the last thing I will say, Shaylin, and so many other people in this room, the work that's being done in this community that you don't see because many of you aren't doing it. The work that's being done, look into the eyes of these people. This is who's doing the work every day for public safety. In addition, bless the police department. And I was driving here and I was thinking about that. I really don't have anything to say. My disappointment is obvious. My concern for the lack of leadership is informing me in ways that I really didn't necessarily want to know before now. There's some privilege sitting up here that you really need to take into account for the fact that you have not made a statement, because that's not helpful. And the only last thing I want to say is, I was with my grandchildren for the last day and a half and, talking about stuff, and, we were talking, and Mr. Rogers came up. And you remember when he said, look for the helpers? Remember this? Yes. He said, look for the helpers. I see a couple up here. I see the rest of them out here. Thank them right now. Thank them, please, for what they have done in your stead. Please. Don't forget my question. I want to know if you can just tell me why creating a response to this. Is it your politics? What is it? Tell me what it is, and I'll work with that. I mean it, okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Paula Dwyer, 11260 Uplander Street Northwest. I guess I'm new to this whole thing, not that I haven't read plenty in the newspaper, but just today I've heard more. I have a friend from Mexico, and she said that her whole family is afraid to go out and about, and so there's that. And I didn't know about these school bus stop interactions that sound pretty scary also, especially for the kids, I can only imagine. On the other hand, one speaker said that, how many dead bodies? Well, there are dead bodies across the country. I mean, we can't ignore that. There have been terrible, horrible attacks on innocent citizens by those who are, especially criminal element among us. And so, that has to be dealt with. And unfortunately, all this fear has come about because of the way ICE has said that they're going after the criminals, but if they encounter somebody who isn't criminal, I mean, jail-worthy, they're going to apprehend those people also. Anyway, so I can see that there's two sides to this story. And anyway, I just want to speak up for the fact that there are people who have died horribly, and that needs to be addressed. And, obviously this can be done in a better way, but, and I don't think that any of these horrible deaths have occurred in Coon Rapids yet, but could happen. And so, anyway, I just want to speak to that because, this hasn't really been spoken to except for what Candace just said. So that's all I have to say. I pray that tempers cool and a better way can be found, because there are a lot of people who are really afraid to go out and about, just do normal things. And also, I have to say that somebody I know lost track of their green card, scared to death that they would be stopped, even though they are here legally, and that it costs a lot to replace a green card, just to replace one, just because you lost it, $400. So, maybe that's something that can be addressed also, because a lot of people don't have a green card. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, anybody else for open mic this evening? Close open mic. Moved up. Okay.
Leanne Mortensen, I'll share. What did they say? Leanne Mortensen, I'll share my address with the clerk. Good evening, city council members. I'm not sure if you're the police chief or a regular officer, but, and hello to everyone in this room tonight. I attended the council meeting and listened to 20-some people talk about the fear they are feeling with ICE in our community, what it is doing to our families, our neighbors, and our local businesses. We heard real stories of people's horrendous and almost unbelievable experiences with ICE in Coon Rapids. I'm asking the city of Coon Rapids to pass a resolution taking a strong stance against participating in federal immigration enforcement, and to denounce the ICE agents who are masked and come into our city with no ID or body cameras and arrest people without masks, wearing no ID and with no requirements for body cameras, proven to be effective policing. If that was proven to be effective policing, don't you think that our police department would be doing that same thing in other cities? Another question I would like to ask is the number of times ICE has contacted the Coon Rapids Police Department to let them know when they are coming into our city. Without action by the city council, this has been addressed. The citizens of this great city will have no faith that government or local police will protect them from ICE. If you continue to sit back, then you prove to them that you are more aligned with the racist corporate interests of our federal government than with the people of your own city. We need you to change course. Let the current events be a wake-up call to respond directly to the public safety threats at hand. Require our police department to protect kidnapping by ICE in the same manner that they would be protected from kidnapping by private citizens. Ban ICE from entering city offices and other non-public places without a judicial warrant, and prohibit them from staging on public property, like Target parking lots. Think deeply about your job as an elected official and who you are standing with as the violence against citizens intensifies. Let me read something to you. Terrible things are happening outside. This is the quote. Terrible things are happening outside. At any time of night and day, poor, helpless people are being dragged out of their homes. Families are torn apart. Men, women, and children are separated. Children come home from school to find that their parents have disappeared. Anybody recognize that quote? It's by Anne Frank. Thank you.
Anybody else to come in for open mic? Okay. Close the open mic portion of the meeting. Move to other business.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Butler?
Similar to the last meeting, just thank you anybody who came out today to speak. I'm happy to stay afterwards to talk to anybody who has additional questions or just wants additional feedback. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilmember Armstrong?
I'll just echo what Councilman Butler said. I'll be here. I'll stay as long as you want me to stay. I appreciate you coming out and be happy to address any questions that you have.
Snowflake Days. We are right in the middle of it. Who won the game yesterday? I haven't even heard. Chief, come on, you must know.
Mayor Cook, I forgot to tell you the truth.
Serious? Is that your way of telling us the fire department won?
That is the roundabout way of telling you. Selectively forgot it.
Yeah, we're in the middle of it, I think, though.
Yes, I believe we took an honest shellacking, so.
Okay, please take it outside. We're still conducting a meeting. Please take it outside.
Mr. Mayor, yes, I heard it didn't go so well, but I think that's a matter of perspective, I guess. So we'll get them next time, I guess.
The fire department probably got more Blue Ox ringers.
That was the excuse last year.
Oh.
And I have to admit, I recognize the goal scorers all as firemen, so I'll just take it this time.
No. Let's see, so this week we got the chili competition on Thursday, 5:30 to 7:30, right here at the Civic Center.
Friday, Mr. Mayor, the senior snowflake party at Civic Center.
Oh, and that's probably been sold out for a month.
Winter fun at Sand Creek, Mr. Mayor, on Saturday, February 7th. That is a fantastic event. 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock at Sand Creek Park. Kids medallion hunt starts at 11:30. There's a lot of great things for the kids to do. And then Sunday, Mr. Mayor, there's two more events. There's a waffle breakfast on Sunday morning here at the Civic Center. And then Sunday afternoon, it's family fun day at the Coon Rapids Ice Arena. Free skating, real nice, if you can skate, Mr. Mayor. Last time I skated was on double runners, and I think I hurt my ankles. So, Mr. Mayor, great events left, winding down.
All right, very good.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilmember Carlson?
Can I bring something else up, Mr. Mayor?
Sure.
I just want to, I don't do this very typically, but I just wanted to speak to the passing of a longtime Coon Rapids resident. I couldn't do that for everyone because you don't know everyone, but I just wanted to express my condolences. Alma Cook passed away, the mayor's mother, on February 20th at the age of 105 and a half.
January 20th.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Or
Mr. Mayor.
20
I'm recovering from a surgery. That's why I wasn't here last meeting. I'm still, I got to tell you, I'm still a little punchy. Yeah, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor. January 20th, 105 and a half years old. Alma was born on the Red Lake Indian Reservation. They moved to Coon Rapids in 1952, the year we became a village, the year we broke away from Anoka Township and became a village. For those of you who have been around for a while, Alma worked at the Red Owl, where Grand Slam is located, and Alma worked at the Target on Coon Rapids Boulevard, which is now the Coon Rapids Ice Arena. I only got to know Alma Cook for like the last 5 years. Heck, I talked to Alma not too long before she passed away, and she was just the same. I could tell that things were getting a little tough for your mom, Mr. Mayor, but she was just as chipper and just as fun and just as sparkly as she always was. I've never known anyone to live to 105 years old, and I probably never will. My sons loved your mother, Mr. Mayor. They were just astonished that somebody could live to be 105 years old. A couple of those birthdays, my grandsons surrounded Alma and sang happy birthday to her, and then she'd give them a little kiss on the cheek, each one of them. She was truly a blessing, Mr. Mayor, and she was a 70, oh, help me with my math, folks, I'm a little punchy, 72-year resident of Coon Rapids. Boy, you just don't find that very often, but she was truly a blessing, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you,
And my
Councilor
family
Johnson.
will truly miss her.
Yeah, she passed on the 23rd. I had to get my calendar out and look here, but
Yeah, I told
for all
you,
those
a
dates.
little punchy, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, so am I. All right, thank you, Carlos. I appreciate that. Any other business to come before council?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion by Butler, second by Novak to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.